Nina's voice went tiny. Where is everyone? I kept my eyes low, but low doesn't stop your brain from knowing the sky is above you. My eyes kept wanting to drift upward, like the muscles behind them were on strings. We made it to the edge of the parking lot. I recognized stupid normal details that punched harder than anything else. An orange cone by the faculty spots, a faded no parking fire lane stencil, a dented light pole with a peeling math team sticker. That sticker made my chest tighten like I was about to laugh and cry at the same time. Tyler whispered, "Maybe there's a car." "There's a car," Nina said, pointing at a sedan sitting crooked with its driver door open. We approached it carefully, like everything was a trap now. The keys were still in the ignition. That should have felt like hope. It felt staged, like someone set props down and walked away. Tyler reached for the door and stopped. "If we start it, it'll make noise." "Noise already exists," I said, and I hated how flat that sounded. Tyler's eyes flashed. "So what? We just stand here until we get eaten?" I didn't answer right away because I could feel tiny vibrations in the pavement under my shoes, like something traveling beneath the asphalt. Nina whispered, "Ben, look at the ground." I did. The cracks in the parking lot weren't just cracks. Thin, pale lines threaded through them, like veins pushing through tar and stone. They weren't random. They were going somewhere. Toward the street, toward the town, toward everything. Tyler saw it and went pale. "It's outside too." "It's connecting," Nina whispered. "It's not contained." A cluster of ruler bugs crawled in a loose mass near the stop sign. Dozens of them. Eyes blinking at different speeds. They weren't swarming like they wanted to bite. They were traveling, following the pale lines like a circuit. Tyler's voice came out thin. "If those are the small ones, what are the big ones doing?" I pictured the watcher in the doorway behind us like a handler, patient, like the part of this that dealt with us directly. We stood there with a car in front of us and a town that didn't feel like a town, and my thoughts got simple in a way that scared me. We're late. That's what it felt like the time for decisions happened and we missed it. Nina's grip tightened. "Ben, don't look up." "I'm not," I said. My eyes still wanted to. Tyler backed away from the car, shaking his head. "I can't do this, I can't." He stopped mid-sentence. His gaze had shifted just above the sedan roofline. Not full sky. Not even really looking. Just enough. His face went slack. Nina saw it and lunged, grabbing his shirt. "Tyler! Eyes down! Tyler, look at me!" Tyler blinked slow, like waking from anesthesia. I thought I saw." Nina's voice went sharp. "Don't finish that sentence." Tyler swallowed. His throat worked weirdly, like his body wanted to speak before his brain agreed. Then he laughed once. Just a single exhale that sounded like giving up. His pupils were too wide. He whispered, reverent and miserable, "It's beautiful." Nina's nails dug into his shirt. "Stop. That's not you." Tyler tried to step forward. Nina yanked him back hard enough his shoes scuffed the pavement. The bugs paused for a beat. Every tiny eye angled toward us. Then they resumed crawling like we were background noise. Tyler's eyes started to gloss. Not instantly like Caleb's. A thin sheen catching the wrong white light. My stomach turned. I grabbed Tyler's arm. "Tyler, hear me. Look at the crack in the pavement." Look at my shoe. Look at anything that's not. His mouth moved. The phrase slid out smooth, like it had been practiced inside him. Fear not. Nina made a sound like she got punched. No, that's not you. Tyler smiled. It was Tyler's face making the motion, but it wasn't Tyler's expression. Too calm, too resolved, like he'd been offered relief and decided to take it. He whispered again, gentler. You are safe. Nina snapped. No, we're not. Tyler blinked. The sheen thickened. You are chosen. Nina's face twisted with rage and terror. Chosen for what? Tyler's gaze drifted upward again, and this time, I saw he wasn't fighting. He wasn't losing. He was letting it happen because letting go hurt less than holding on. His voice softened. To begin again. Behind us, the school's front doors creaked. Not wind, not settling, like something opening. I glanced back without lifting my head much and saw the watcher standing in the lobby doorway, framed by pale tissue and that wrong light. It hadn't chased us. It had followed like a handler walking behind livestock. Patient. Nina saw it and whispered, broken. It's here. Tyler turned his head toward the watcher and smiled wider, like he recognized it, like it was a friend showing up to walk him somewhere. The watcher didn't hurry. It didn't need to. It stood there and let the building do the work. The horn chord rolled again, low and constant now. It felt like it was inside my chest. When it dipped, my chest dipped. When it rose, my stomach tightened, like our bodies were being used as speakers. A seam formed across the parking lot near the curb. Smooth, wet looking, too clean. Asphalt shouldn't do clean. The street didn't crack. It parted, like skin. Warm air rose from the opening. It smelled like rain on dirt and blood in your mouth. There was light down there, white and steady. Not a flashlight beam. Not sun. Tyler leaned toward it like he'd been waiting. I grabbed his wrist harder. His skin was hot. Too hot. Tyler looked at me and smiled with that calm again. Fear not, he whispered. My grip slipped a bit, like his skin had gone slick. Nina sobbed. Ben, let him go. I held on anyway because letting go felt like murder. Tyler didn't fight me. That was the worst part. He moved forward with certainty like he'd already signed himself over, and his body was just catching up. His finger brushed mine once, almost gentle, like an apology. Then he stepped into the white light. The seam didn't swallow him violently. It accepted him. His edges blurred like a camera losing focus. For a moment, I saw him standing there inside it. And behind him there were shapes, structures that looked like ribs and arches, and something like a doorway built from brightness. Not carved, not built with tools, just arranged. Then Tyler was gone. The seam stayed open, waiting. Nina collapsed against me, shaking so hard her teeth clicked. That's it, she whispered. That's it, we're done. I held her because it was the only human action left that didn't feel like a lie. The cord deepened again, and the pressure behind my eyes softened like a hand patting your head. Begin. The meaning wasn't shouted. It just sat there like an assumption. Nina lifted her face toward mine, wet-eyed and exhausted. Are we dying? I stared at the seam, at the white light, at the pale thread lines running through the pavement toward the horizon, like veins toward a heart. We're past the part where survive means anything, I said. My voice sounded too calm and I hated it. We're in the part where you get repurposed. Nina flinched like I slapped her. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it, but sorry didn't fit anything anymore. Nina's gaze flicked toward the seam, then toward the town, then back like she was searching for a third option and finding blank space. Can we hide? She whispered. The word felt like it belonged to a different life. Hide where? I said. She squeezed her eyes shut. I don't want to be first. You won't be, I said, because it was the only thing I could hand her that didn't taste like surrender. I didn't know if it was true. Her shoulders shook. She whispered, I hate this. I didn't answer because I did too, and saying it out loud felt small. Another detail hit me then, stupid and sharp in the middle of everything. The horn wasn't just in the air, it was in us. When it shifted, Nina's breathing shifted. When it held, my chest held. Like we were being tuned, not chased. Nina gasped and clenched her throat. Ben, my head! Her pupils reacted like she'd stepped into bright sunlight, except the light wasn't on her face. It was in the seam, in the sky, in the building behind us. I grabbed her shoulders. Look at me. Nina, focus on my face. Don't listen to it. Nina's lips trembled. It feels like someone is pushing a thought into my mouth. Don't let it out, I said, which is a stupid instruction, like telling someone not to sneeze. But Nina nodded anyway because she needed something to do. The watcher shifted in the doorway behind us, not advancing, just adjusting posture, like it was keeping us in its field. Calm, patient, like we were going to do what we were going to do, and it was just there to make sure we did it in the right direction. And that's when it hit me with a cold clarity that made my hands go numb. The watcher wasn't the thing in charge. It was the part that interacted with us, the part that stood in doorways, the part that guided and blocked and waited. A tool, a living interface, something like a finger on the world. Whatever was up there didn't need to come down here like a movie monster. It was already threaded through everything. It just needed you to agree or give up. Same result. Nina whispered, Ben, what if it isn't aliens? The word alien sounded almost funny, too small for what my eyes kept wanting to do. I stared at the seam. Does it matter? It matters, Nina said, stubborn even now. I hesitated. Then, the answer that came felt like it had been waiting since the first alert buzzed and turned all our faces down. It's not coming, I said. It's been here. Maybe the sky hasn't been ours for a long time. Maybe it's just been quiet. Nina's face tightened. So why now? I looked at the pale threads in the pavement. They were thickening slowly, like time-lapse growth. Because it's ready. The word tasted awful. Ready. The chord deepened again, and the air shimmered. Not heat shimmer, something like alignment. The sky above the town felt like it pressed downward without moving, and the back of my neck prickled like my body knew it was being looked at. Nina made a small sound and squeezed my hand harder. Ben, I can't be... Her voice collapsed. The meaning came again, and this time, it didn't just press. It flickered images across my head, like a thumb flipping through a picture book. Hands. Too many. Not human hands. Structures shaped like hands. Buildings threaded together by pale tissue, like a body made of architecture. People embedded as components. Eyes everywhere, not as decorations, as sensors. The two figures standing in the white light, silhouettes against something too big to name. And my brain, traitor that it is, reached for the nearest story it already had ready to load. The default two-person start-over story. It grabbed it because it needed something familiar to keep from cracking. Adam. Eve. Not holy, not a promise. A label. A translation into something we tolerate long enough to obey. Nina started crying, hard and ugly. She didn't hide it. I hate that, she sobbed. I hate that they're using that. I know, I said, and my voice shook. She whispered, okay, like she was trying to keep herself from floating away. I didn't want to look up again. I didn't want to feed it. I didn't want more detail burned into my eyes like an after image. But I felt the pull in my neck, gentle and persistent, and I understood the warning in a different way. It had never been about physical danger first. It had been about cognition, about patterns, about what happens when you see something your brain can't unsee. Seeing becomes belonging. I looked up. The sky wasn't blue. It was depth. Layered brilliance and geometry folded into itself. Structures vast enough to break scale. Edges interlocking like machinery built from light. Some surfaces glowed so bright my eyes watered instantly. Other sections looked darker than shadow. Not unlit, but like they swallowed the idea of light. My stomach dropped the way it drops when you realize you've been standing too close to an edge without noticing how high it is. Nina made a sound, like she tried to inhale and forgot how. Then, Tyler was gone. The others were gone. The town was a shell. And the sky felt occupied in a way that made the word occupied sound polite and wrong. I forced my gaze down, but looking away doesn't erase the imprint. It just stops you from adding new detail. The after image sat behind my eyelids anyway, bright and layered. The chord deepened, and the meaning slid through me with that same almost kind pressure. You are not forsaken, Nina whispered, shaking. This is the rapture. I thought about Caleb and his oily eyes, and the way he smiled, like he'd been handed relief right before his neck snapped. I thought about how fear not got used like a tool to make horror feel holy. It's not, I said, and my voice sounded far away. It's recruitment. The pavement at the seam flexed slightly, like the opening was breathing. Warm air rose higher. It smelled like soil and metal and something sweet underneath, the way flowers smell too sweet right before they rot. Inside the white light, I could sense depth, not distance, a place where scale didn't follow our rules. Nina whispered, If I look up again, will I lose myself? I hesitated, then gave her the only version of truth that might help her hold on for one more minute. Don't stare, I said. Don't try to understand it. Just glance and come back. Like checking a bright sign and then looking at your shoes again. Nina gave a broken laugh that didn't have any humor in it. This is insane. Yeah, I said. It is. We stood at the edge of the seam. The light lapped at our shoes like water without wetness. Behind us, the watcher remained in the doorway, eye reflecting the seam, reflecting us, reflecting the sky, patient as a crossing guard. I couldn't tell if it felt anything. I couldn't tell if it was alive in a way that mattered. It might have been a puppet with an eye. It might have been something like a priest keeping order during a conversation. The meaning came again, clearer. Adam, Eve. Nina shook so hard I could feel it through our joined hands. I don't want to go. I didn't either. But the alternative wasn't staying human. The alternative was becoming part of a wall, or a floor, or whatever material got used when you couldn't align. I guided Nina forward, step by step. She resisted at first, not pulling away, just slowing like her body was trying to anchor itself to the street. The pale threads beneath her shoes tightened slightly, like they'd been waiting for her weight. Nina swallowed hard. Ben, promise me something. What? If I start saying it, she whispered. If I start saying fear not, hit me. The request was so blunt, it made my chest clamp down. I nodded. Okay. Nina's eyes squeezed shut. She took one step, then another. At the edge, she paused. The white light made her skin look too pale, like she was already turning into a different version of herself. She whispered, small and wrecked. I want my mom. My throat closed so hard, I couldn't breathe for a second. I know, I managed. Nina stepped into the light. I stepped with her because letting her go alone felt like the last thing I'd ever forgive myself for. For a split second, the street behind us blurred like a memory. The town softened at the edges like the world was deciding if it didn't need to render all that detail anymore. I felt Nina's hand in mine, tight and real. Then, the white light swallowed everything. The sound changed. Not louder, closer. Like the cord was inside your teeth now. And Nina squeezed my fingers once. Hard, like a signal. Ben, she whispered, and it sounded like her. Then, it didn't.
Fear not,
Nina whispered from inside the light, soft as a secret, and the words came out wrong, like they had to scrape through something that wasn't a throat. For a blink, I saw a shape in there. Not a person, not an animal. Something tall and jointed and bright in layers, like the idea of a body stacked wrong. A glimpse, one frame, and my stomach dropped again because my brain tried to latch and couldn't hold it. Nina's hand tightened around mine.
Fear not,
she whispered again, and I couldn't tell if she was trying to comfort me or repeating an instruction that had found her mouth. Some stories end when the words stop. Others don't end at all. If you enjoyed this story, there are many more waiting in the dark. Until next time.